Grizzlies fans, it is a very early game in LA today. So let's get this one done so we can head over to the arena. Joining me for the first time, Darian Vaziri. Thank you for coming on today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I am excited for this one because the Grizzlies are on the road. That's where they got their first win. They're 1-3 on the road. And although the Clippers are 3-0 at home, they're 0-3 after the arrival of James Harden. And both teams coming off losses, so they're both going to have a little extra motivation from their Friday games. The Clippers have, I don't know, two MVPs, a final MVP, about 1,000 All Stars. What's working for the Clippers as of right now?
Nothing. I mean, the Clippers since getting James Harden have been all out of whack, all out of sorts. It looks like the starting lineup's having a tough time gelling together and finding a way that all four of them can play well in the same game. And then the bench, they lost that front court depth with Robert Covington and Nicholas Batum. So the Clippers have just become a smaller team. And now with Mason Plumlee out, when Ivica Zubac goes to the bench, you'll likely see PJ Tucker playing center. And PJ Tucker is a little old, to put it nicely. And the Clippers guards, a lot of them are not necessarily the best defenders. So if you have a lineup, let's say with James Harden, Norman Powell, and Bones Highland in there, there's a lot of guys that the Memphis Grizzlies can attack. So I would say look for the Grizzlies to try to crash the offensive glass, get a lot of rebounds, and use the size of Jaren Jackson and Xavier Tillman to bother the Clippers, because in the second halves of these games, since we've gotten James Harden, the Clippers' effort defensively and on the rebounds really has diminished. So I think it's going to be a tough game, and there's no better time to be playing the Clippers, honestly, than right now. But as you said, undefeated at home, and it looks like maybe that'll continue, hopefully.
Yeah, you're mentioning a little bit of lack of depth in that big area for the Clippers. The same goes for the Grizzlies. Unfortunately, Xavier Tillman Sr. is doubtful for today, but the Grizzlies did just inject Bismack Biyombo, who's averaging 11 points and 12 rebounds. So that could be a really good thing. The Grizzlies, I guess this is his fourth game. I always say fourth. I think it might be fifth, but that first game was like 0.2 seconds. So I think we're going to go fourth. The Clippers allowed 144 points in their last game that was against Dallas on Friday. Look, the Grizzlies defense is not where it should be either. I think both teams either mid to bottom of the league. The Grizzlies are only averaging 109 points, like scoring. Where do you think the Grizzlies could, like, what threat do you think the Grizzlies have towards the Clippers defense today? Is it Desmond Bane? Do you see a Jaren Jackson big game from him tonight? Is it a Luke Kennard game, a little revenge back home?
Well, can I ask a question? Who's starting at center? Is it Jaren Jackson?
Bismack will start probably at the 5 and then JJ at the 4.
Okay, so that right in itself creates some problems. The Clippers are starting Kawhi Leonard at the 4 right now. And to start the season, it was going to be Kawhi Leonard at the 4, but you were going to have Terrence Mann out there instead of James Harden. So you have more guys that can stay in front of the ball. The problem is now if the Clippers get blown by, now your secondary help is, besides Zubac, a bunch of wings. And the Grizzlies, they might have an advantage there with Jaren Jackson. If I was Taylor Jenkins, I would tell Jaren Jackson to crash the offensive glass like crazy against the Clippers. And plus, after that amazingly passionate rant that he had about the officiating in the last game, I have a feeling the whistle could be better for Memphis. However, the Clippers are at home, so you could get that home-centric officiating. So that would be an area. And then, of course, Desmond Bane, you know how hot he can get. So if he starts feeling it, then the Clippers could be in trouble. And then there's always the chance that guys like Marcus Smart can go off from deep. And then, of course, as you mentioned, our old friend Luke Kennard, last time he came to town, Clippers acted like they didn't even know the guy, and he got like 5 threes off. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to giving Luke a nice hand when he's introduced today.
My second last question for you has to do with the Grizzlies' 3-point defense. It is the worst in the league right now, allowing teams to shoot almost 41% from the three. Is that something the Clippers like? Okay, this is gonna sound silly because there's 1,000 all-stars on this Clippers team, and any NBA player can make an open three. But is the 3-point threat something that the Clippers could punish the Grizzlies defense with?
Maybe. The thing is, the Clippers started out before the Harden trade shooting really well from three every game. And then since Harden's come, they've been shooting really poorly from three every game. I think with Memphis, obviously losing Dylan Brooks, you lose a guy that's really good at staying in front of the ball. If the Clippers can get in the paint, drive and kick, get some open threes, then you never know. But the one thing about the Clippers that Memphis may not have as much of a problem with in this game is, besides Russell Westbrook, we don't really have that many guys that consistently get in the paint. Bones Highland might be one, but his role's really been reduced along with Norman Powell since we've gotten James Harden. And James Harden, he used to be a guy that could get in the paint at will, but he's definitely lost a step. Still a very skilled player, but he's lost a step. And then Kawhi Leonard, not the quickest as well. And then Paul George, it really all depends on what kind of mood he's in. He had a really tough game against Dallas, so expect the Clippers to really look to get Paul George going early in this game.
Yeah, I think a key for the Grizzlies too is pushing that pace, because you are mentioning like they're huge names and they're amazing basketball players, but they are on the older side. The Grizzlies, a lot of really young guys. I know the Clippers play at a slower pace, like not as many fast break points. Here's my very last question for you as we go into this one, because this is the first time that the Grizzlies will play the Clippers. The first time you're going to see both these teams play at home. I mean, realistically, you're hoping really that Harden doesn't like click today and everything just goes perfectly. But the one matchup that you are excited to see, is there a player that you're excited to see play someone on the Clippers tonight or today?
I mean, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of his game before coming to the Clippers, but this is a momentous occasion. I mean, James Harden is a former MVP. He is a future Hall of Famer. For him to be suiting up for the first time in front of the home fans, I would prefer it not to be on a 12:30 local time start, because those don't usually have the most hype in the building, but it should be very interesting. And yeah, you mentioned the pace. Before Harden, Clippers were playing at a much faster pace than last season. After Harden, a little bit slower. So if I'm Memphis, I'm looking to push, because in the second half, the Clippers starters their legs have kind of gone. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm not even sure who that Harden matchup would be. Like, I don't know if you put Marcus Smart on James Harden, you put Marcus Smart on Russell Westbrook, I don't know. Maybe I think James Harden, Marcus Smart, right? Because they're both like bigger guys.
Yeah, I mean, what's the Grizzlies starting lineup? Jaren Jackson, Bismack Biyombo, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, and then Zaire Williams.
It's switched because Zaire was out last game. It switched to Jacob Gilliard at the one, who is a player on a two-way contract. And so that last spot, like that 3 or 1 spot, I guess, depending on who fills in, has been up and down. So it's kind of we'll see we'll see at 12:30 our time or 2:30 our time.
If I'm Memphis, I would put Desmond Bane on James Harden and throw Marcus Smart on Paul George, and then Kawhi, Jaren Jackson on Kawhi. I just think that Desmond Bane, you know what? That's tough. I just think with Marcus
Right?
Smart, he might be able to mess with Paul George a little bit. The only thing I'll say is Paul George can shoot over the top of him, whereas with Desmond Bane, he might not have as good of a chance. But Desmond Bane on James Harden, navigating through a bunch of screens. I don't know. I haven't seen Desmond Bane play too much defense this season because I haven't watched many Grizzlies games so far without Ja. So I'm not sure, but I guarantee you it'll be one of those two guarding those guys. The other ones, I think the guy you just mentioned on the two-way will probably guard Westbrook and try to sag off him when he doesn't have the ball.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's have some fun. Darian, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you so much. I know it looks like you're in the arena, but you're about to head there because it is an early game. Grizzlies fans, this one tips off at 2:30 p.m. Central Time. So grab some lunch and then you have the whole night to yourselves after hopefully a Grizzlies W. Sorry. Thank you again.
Thank you.